Welcome back, Nerf fans. This is Charles and John from ContainmentCrew, and this is our continued look at the Hammershot.
Alright, so we've gone ahead and taken the screws out, of which I believe there's 12 external screws. So, the
All
shell...
about the same size.
Yeah, I believe every single one of them is the same size, so it doesn't really matter where you pull them out from or where you put them back in, they're all the same. The shell pops open fairly easily. We did have this open before, but even so, the first time pulling it open, it came open very easily. But here we go. Pull this up here so that we can get a nice little overview of what's going on in here. As you can see up front, we've got a regular turret, very similar to the strong arm was the most recent one.
Yep.
The strong arms turret. And we've got our plunger tube, we've got our trigger down here, our main priming mech, and we've got our spring down in here. So there's really not too much to go over in this blaster because it's very, very simple, but there's a couple of points that we want to make about this. First off, the turret comes out fairly easily, it just slides out. It's pinned together exactly the same way the strong arms is. It's a very similar turret.
Very. But there's really no point in taking it apart.
Yeah, the back is completely sealed on there. There's really not much you can do. You can unpin it, but that just reveals the clutch mech in here. That makes the nice clicking sound when you rotate it incorrectly. That's really all there is in there. But the next part, after we take out the little retention post here for the turret, is this whole assembly in here is one piece. It just slides right out. The whole thing is all contained in this, this white plastic backing. And the interesting thing about this is, because of that, you can actually completely operate the entire blaster outside the case, which is pretty unique as far as Nerf products go. I haven't really seen another one that has done anything like that.
As long as it's open, you can actually see the full functioning of the blaster. Well, minus the rotation mech, but that's fairly straightforward.
Well, you can actually see it moving, but I think most of you guys know how those things work by now. Yeah. Everybody's taken apart their Maverick already, right? Like for Mavericks.
Let's go ahead and pop off that retention plate.
Yep, just right on the front here. We've got this retention plate sitting. It's only held in with 3 little screws. And again, these screws are damn near identical to the ones that are in the outside, so feel free to mix and match. But there we go.
Collect them all.
That doesn't work.
No?
No. But that plate comes off, and now you can see what's magically under there. Almost nothing.
It is kind of interesting that it catches if you... It catches on the trigger itself.
If it doesn't fly apart, we can see how there we go, and it's about to fly apart, but that's where it catches right there. And then you pull the trigger back and it releases. And we jammed the rotation bar. Alright, so now that things are out of alignment, we can pull it apart a little bit more. Pop the spring out. And interesting to note about the spring is it's actually flared at the end there. Hopefully you can see the difference on that in YouTube. But I'm supposing that's just to get a little bit more compression and to also help the priming rod down here to actually flow through it a little easier. But we'll just pull this whole plate off. This whole thing is just pinned together. As you can see, it's just got a couple of pins in it. If you really want to take this apart, you just pop it out. And the plunger head.
Very efficient plunger head. One of the most efficient ones I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, it's just a nice big lump of orange plastic. There are 2, hopefully the light catches that right, but there's 2 little holes in there that, you might be able to fill up. Get a little tiny bit more air volume, but the O-ring they put on here actually has a really nice fit in this plunger tube. And the plunger head, of course, rotates because this bar isn't always straight with the way it moves. It needs a little bit of wiggle room to work. But we'll put that away, and then let me just get this little torsion spring that works as a trigger return out of there. And this plunger tube, I did have it out before. It is a pain in the butt to get out. It's tabbed in 2 places, one up here, and there is another tab on the inside of this that once you pop the first one, it prevents you from getting a second tab that's on this side out through there. So this thing is very hard to pull apart. But you can see on the front here, on the faceplate, there's two main things to notice about this. Number one is where the plunger tube actually meets up with the back of the turret. They've gone ahead and put a ring of some sort of craft foam around there, which helps improve the seal on the back of the turret. And the other thing is, hopefully you can see in there, but actually at the front of the air restrictor is actually a rubber plate, which helps seal it up, which makes this you know, a very annoying air restrictor because it doesn't continue to let air through. But the way the whole thing's designed, after the dart gets that initial pop of air pressure, it's really not doing anything because it leaves the turret. So overall, it's just in there to help slow down the plunger head, I guess. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I think, you know, the main thing that, you know, I really want to note about this is taking it out of the shell. The blaster is almost fully functioned. If you really wanted to, you just rip it out of the shell, stick some sort of barrel on the front here, and have a really, really weird looking single shot. You have anything to add to that, Charles?
It'd be a really, really fun single shot. If I didn't want to waste a hammer shot, I'd try it.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing, even though this the front of this plunger tube looks like it's tabbed on there, it is actually solvent welded in place as well, so there's really no easy way of getting at the air restrictor. If you wanted to really get at the air restrictor, you'd probably want to bore it out from the back there. That's probably the best solution, because the front is actually, the air restrictor is a lot larger than it, and you'd ruin the seal against the turret. But I think that's pretty much it. Not really much to this blaster. You know, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you learned a little something about this.
You stay classy.
Internet. Stay classy, Internet.
It wasn't on my teleprompter.
Who messed up the teleprompter again?